The stars glittered coldly as Commander Kang stared out the viewport of his ship. For 300 years, the Terran Confederacy ruled the galaxy unopposed. 7 alien species united in a government that controlled thousands of worlds. The humans were gone, just a memory in old history files. Kang rubbed his scaled forehead. He was tired after 15 hours analyzing attack data. 3 Terran outposts had been hit in the last month. Each raid was perfect, quick, clean, with no survivors. The attackers took supplies and vanished. "Commander, you need to see this," said Officer Lee, bringing a datapad. Kang took it and played the security recording. The footage showed shadowy figures moving through the base. They moved too fast, too smoothly. One turned toward the camera for a split second. "Freeze that," Kang ordered. The image stopped. Despite the blur, Kang saw a face that made his blood run cold. 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, a human face. "Impossible," he whispered. "They died out in the Great Purge." "The data doesn't lie, sir," Lee said quietly. Kang knew what he had to do. The High Council needed to know. If humans had somehow survived, everything would change. Far away, on a planet hidden behind a dense nebula, General Ji-un walked through an underground city. The massive cavern held 50,000 humans, the descendants of those who escaped Earth's destruction centuries ago. Ji-un entered the command center where large screens showed stars, planets, and Terran fleet movements. Her second-in-command, Captain Tae-ho, saluted as she approached. "The raid teams are back, General. All missions successful." Ji-un nodded. "Casualties?" "None. We were in and out before they knew what hit them." Ji-un smiled slightly. Their phase shift. Technology made their ships and soldiers nearly invisible to Terran sensors. It was their greatest advantage. "Show me the supply count," she ordered. Tae-ho brought up a hologram showing stacks of fuel cells, medicine, and food. "Enough to last another 3 months. But more importantly, we got this." He held up a small crystal cube glowing with blue light. "A Terran data core," Ji-un said, eyes widening. "Intact?" "Completely. It has the access codes to their defense network. We can now see everything they see." Ji-un took the cube carefully. 200 years of hiding, building, and planning were finally paying off. Her grandparents had told stories of Earth green and beautiful before the Terran bombs fell. They spoke of billions of humans living under open skies instead of in hidden caves. "It's time for the next phase," she said. "Prepare the fleet." Back in Terran space, Kang stood before the High Council. 7 alien leaders looked down at him from tall chairs. "You claim humans still exist?" asked Counselor Mach, his tentacles waving in disbelief. "Ridiculous. We eliminated them centuries ago." "The evidence suggests otherwise," Kang insisted. "The attack patterns, the technology used, it's unlike anything we've seen." "Humans were primitive," said another counselor. "They barely had space travel when we found them." Kang brought up the frozen image from the security feed. "Then explain this." The council chamber fell silent. Scholar Nara, the youngest counselor, leaned forward. Unlike the others, she seemed more curious than dismissive. "If humans survived the purge, where have they been hiding all these years?" she asked. "I don't know," Kang admitted. "But I believe they've been preparing. These attacks are just the beginning." "Nonsense," Mach declared. "Some pirate gang is using old human imagery to frighten us. Your request to investigate is denied." As the council session ended, Nara approached Kang privately. "I believe you," she whispered. "My species opposed the purge. What happened to the, humans was wrong. Help me find the truth," Kang said. Nara nodded. "Meet me tonight. There are historical records you need to see." That same night, on the edge of Terran space, 50 human warships emerged from phase shift. Their black hulls absorbed light, making them nearly invisible against the stars. On the bridge of the flagship Defiance, Captain Tae-ho received his orders from General Ji-un. "Begin Operation Lazarus," she commanded. "Target the communication relays first. When they're blind, we hit their supply depots." Tae-ho nodded. "And the prisoners?" Release them with our message. Let the galaxy know humanity has returned. The human fleet moved silently toward Terran space. After generations of hiding and building in secret, humanity was ready to reclaim their place in the stars. The Terran Confederacy thought they had wiped out an entire species. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Kang and Scholar Nara met in an old library deep within the Terran capital city. Dust floated in the air as Nara unlocked a hidden room filled with ancient records. These files were sealed after the human incident, she explained, activating a holographic display. The official story says humans attacked us first, but that was a lie. The display showed Earth as it once was: blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. Then came images of Terran warships firing on human cities. We discovered humans had something unique, Nara said quietly. Their DNA could adapt and evolve much faster than any species we'd encountered. Some leaders feared what humans might become. In a few centuries, Kang felt sick. So we tried to wipe them out because of what they might do? Yes, but these records suggest some humans escaped. Ships that disappeared from our sensors, colonies we never found. A loud alarm suddenly blared through the building. Kang's communicator buzzed urgently. Commander Kang, report immediately. We're under attack! Across Terran space, communications went silent as relay stations exploded. On 3 border worlds, black ships appeared from nowhere, striking military bases with surgical precision. Terran defenders fired blindly at enemies. They couldn't track on sensors. The attackers moved like ghosts, visible one moment, gone the next. On the planet Veros, Commander Dak watched in horror as his entire fleet was cut to pieces. What are they? He gasped as his flagship lost power. Hours later, Dak woke up in a strange room. A human woman stood before him, her eyes hard and unforgiving. I am Captain Sunmi of the human warship Vengeance, she said. You are being released with a message for your leaders. She activated a hologram showing hundreds of human warships emerging from phase shift. For 2 centuries you believed us extinct. We were not destroyed, we were transformed. Tell your council, humanity has returned to reclaim what's ours. Thousands of light years away, Captain Tejo guided the Defiance into the nebula hiding their homeworld. The massive ship moved through clouds of purple gas until it reached a hidden docking station, carved into an asteroid. Inside the central command hub, General Ji-un addressed her officers. Phase 1 is complete. The Terran Confederacy now knows we exist, and they're afraid. She activated a display showing Terran ships frantically moving to defend key worlds. Our ancestors fled into this dimensional pocket 200 years ago, Ji-un continued. What was 7 generations for us was only 2 centuries for them. Time flows differently in phase shift. We had time to grow stronger, to advance beyond anything they could imagine. Tejo studied the tactical display. The Terran fleet is mobilizing, but they're disorganized. They never expected to fight a war again, especially against ghosts. Ji-un nodded. We're not just survivors. We've evolved. Our scientists estimate that living partially phased has accelerated our development. We're stronger, faster, and our minds can link in battle. We've become what the Terran feared, but only because they tried to destroy us. A young officer approached with a datapad. General, we've detected unusual communications from the Terran capital. Someone named Commander Kang is trying to convince their council to negotiate. Ji-un's eyes narrowed. Can we trust this? Unknown, but he's working with a Terran named Nara, who seems to have access to the truth about what happened to Earth. Back, on the Terran homeworld, Kang stood before the High Council again, this time with Scholar Nara beside him. The attacks confirm everything, he shouted over the panicked voices. Humans have survived and they've advanced beyond our understanding. Counselor Mock slammed his fist down. Then we finish what we started. Mobilize the entire fleet. That would be suicide, Nara said calmly. Their technology can shift between dimensions. Our weapons barely affect them. What do you suggest? Asked another counselor. Contact them. Negotiate. Acknowledge the wrong we did. Mock's face twisted with anger. Never. We don't apologize to lesser species. Lesser? Kang laughed bitterly. They just crippled our border. Defenses without losing a single ship. Pride will destroy us all. As the Council argued, a human ship appeared in orbit around the Terran homeworld, somehow bypassing all defenses. It broadcast a single message to every screen on the planet. The face of General Ji-un filled the screens. People of the Terran Confederacy, for 2 centuries you believed humanity extinct. You celebrated our destruction. Now we have returned. Xiu paused, her eyes burning with intensity. We could destroy you as you tried to destroy us, but first we demand the truth. Acknowledge your crimes against Earth. Then we will decide your fate. The message ended, leaving the Terran Council in shocked silence. The ghosts of humanity hadn't just returned. They now held the power to determine the future of the galaxy. Panic spread across the Terran worlds. The Council argued for days while their citizens watched the skies in fear. Human ships appeared and disappeared at will, ignoring defensive grids that had kept the Confederacy safe for centuries. Kang and Nara worked secretly from an abandoned observatory. They had gathered a small group of Terrans who believed peace was possible. The Council is preparing for war, Kang said, looking at reports flowing in. They're activating weapons platforms that haven't been used in generations. Nara shook her head. It won't be enough. Look at this. She showed footage of a human soldier phasing through a solid wall during an attack on a military base. Another clip showed human ships vanishing seconds before Terran weapons hit them. Their phase shift technology doesn't just hide them, Nara explained. It's changed them. They can partially exist outside normal space-time. We need to contact them directly, Kang decided. Before the Council starts a war we cannot win. On the hidden human world, General Ji-un met with the leaders of the 12 human colonies that had survived the purge. Each colony had developed differently during their years in hiding. New Terra stands ready with 30 warships, said Governor Huan, a tall man from a heavy-gravity world. His people had grown stronger and denser in their exile. Hyperion offers 20 ships and our phase tech specialists, added Director Su-jin. Her skin had a slight blue tint, adaptation to her colony's methane-rich atmosphere. One by one, the colony leaders pledged their forces. 200 years of preparation was coming to fruition. Captain Taeho entered with urgent news. General, we've detected a signal. Someone is trying to contact us on an old Earth frequency. Source? Ji-un asked. A small Terran vessel near the Cygnus border. They're requesting to meet. They say they want peace. Ji-un considered this. It could be a trap. The signal mentions 2 names specifically, Commander Kang and Scholar Nara. Ji-un remembered these names from intelligence reports. The commander who discovered us and the scholar who knows the truth. Interesting. After discussion with her council, Ji-un decided to meet these Terrans. Captain Taeho prepared a small ship with phase shift capability. I don't like this, Taeho said as they boarded. You shouldn't go personally. Sometimes a leader must take risks, Ji-un replied. If there's any chance to avoid full-scale war, I must try. The meeting point was an abandoned mining station in neutral space. Ji-un arrived with 4 guards, all ready to phase shift if threatened. Kang and Nara came with no weapons. When they saw Ji-un, their eyes widened at how different humans had become. She stood taller than Terran historical records showed. Her eyes reflected light differently, and her movements were unnaturally fluid. I am Commander Kang. This is Scholar Nara. We come seeking peace. Ji-un studied them carefully. Your council prepares for war while you speak of peace. Why should I believe you? Nara stepped forward. Because we bring the truth. And a warning. She handed over a data crystal. This contains the full, unaltered, records of what happened to Earth. The council plans to destroy these files. Ji-un took the crystal. And the warning? The council has activated the Sun Forge, Kang said grimly. A weapon designed to collapse stars. They plan to destroy your hidden world once they find it. This news troubled Ji-un deeply. The Sun Forge was a legendary weapon believed to be a myth by most. Why help us, she asked. Because what happened to your people was wrong. Nara said simply. And because if the Sunforge is used even once, it could trigger a chain reaction that would destroy half the galaxy. Back at the Human Command Center, Ji-Un's advisors reviewed the data crystal. It's authentic, confirmed the chief scientist. These are the original orders for Earth's destruction. The Terrans feared our adaptive abilities. They saw what we might become. And now we have become exactly what they feared, Ji-Un said quietly. Reports came in of Terran fleets gathering. The Council had rejected Kang's peace efforts and branded him a traitor. They were preparing a massive attack. Ji-Un made her decision. We've hidden long enough. Order all colonies to mobilize. We will strike first, 3 simultaneous attacks on their major shipyards. And the Sunforge? Asked Tejo. Finding and neutralizing it is our top priority. If the Terrans are willing to risk galactic destruction, they're more dangerous than we thought. As human fleets emerged from phase shift across the galaxy, Ji-Un looked at the star map showing both their forces and the gathering Terran armada. 200 years ago they tried to exterminate us because they feared what we might become, she said. Now they will face what we have become. The storm that had been gathering for generations was finally breaking. The next few days would determine the fate of both species, and possibly the galaxy itself. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as 2 massive fleets faced each other near the Cygnus Arm. 5,000 Terran warships formed a wall of metal and energy, the largest military force assembled in centuries. Their weapons glowed hot, ready to fire. Opposite them, 300 human vessels hung in perfect formation. Though vastly outnumbered, each human ship was a technological wonder, sleek and black, partially phased between dimensions. On the bridge of the Defiance, Captain Tejo watched the enemy fleet with calm eyes. Beside him stood General Ji-Un, her face showing no fear. They have numbers, Tejo observed. We have evolution on our side. Ji-Un nodded. Begin Operation Thunderclap. Across the human fleet, crews activated their phase shift drives. The ships began to flicker, becoming hard to track visually, impossible to target. The Terran fleet opened fire. Thousands of energy beams cut through space and passed harmlessly through the phasing human vessels. It was like trying to hit ghosts with solid weapons. Phase complete. Strike teams ready, reported Tejo. Launch, ordered Ji-Un. Small fighter craft shot from the human carriers, each carrying 6 soldiers. These craft phased completely, becoming invisible to Terran sensors. They passed through the enemy ship's hulls like they weren't there, then solidified inside. On the Terran flagship, Admiral Rock was shouting orders when the air before him shimmered. 6 human soldiers appeared on his bridge, weapons ready. What, is this sorcery? He gasped. Evolution, answered the human squad leader before stunning the Admiral and his crew. Similar scenes played out across hundreds of Terran vessels. Human strike teams appeared inside engine rooms, weapons controls, and command centers. Within 30 minutes, a third of the Terran fleet was disabled from within. On a small ship at the edge of the battle, Commander Kang and Scholar Nara watched in horror. We have to stop this, Kang said. Both sides will be destroyed. The Council won't listen, Nara replied. But perhaps the fleet commanders will. Most of them don't know the truth about Earth. Kang opened a broadcast channel to all Terran ships. This is Commander Kang. The humans are not our enemy. They are defending themselves against those who tried to destroy them. I have proof of the Council's crimes. His message was cut short as Terran security forces jammed his transmission. But some had heard. Doubt spread through the ranks. Meanwhile, the battle intensified. Human vessels darted between Terran formations, firing precision strikes at weapon systems and engines rather than destroying ships outright. On the Defiance, an officer reported urgently to Ji-Un. General, we've detected energy readings consistent with the Sunforge. They're preparing to fire it at our homeworld. Ji-Un's face hardened. Deploy the stellar compression units. Tejo looked up sharply. General, they've never been tested in combat. We have no choice, Ji-Un replied. The Sunforge must be stopped. From the rear of the human formation, 3 special vessels moved forward. Each contained technology developed during the long years in phase shift, artificial gravity wells, that could compress stellar matter into energy. The vessels positioned themselves in a triangle formation and activated their systems. Space between them began to warp. A tiny point of light formed, growing brighter by the second. "What are they doing?" asked a Terran officer as alarms blared across their fleet. The answer came moments later. The light between the human ships flared, brilliantly, becoming a miniature star. Its energy was immediately channeled through the three vessels, which fired concentrated beams at the heart of the Terran fleet. The beams cut through space like swords of light, slicing through Terran shields, as if they weren't there. 20 capital ships vanished in blinding explosions. "Target the Sunforge carrier," ordered Ji-Yoon. The beams converged on a massive Terran vessel at the rear of their formation. For a moment it was outlined in brilliant light. Then it exploded with such force that nearby ships were thrown off course. Across the Terran fleet, commanders watched in shock. Their greatest weapon destroyed in seconds. The humans had created technology that could harness the power of stars themselves. "All Terran vessels," Ji-Yoon broadcast on open channels. "Your Sunforge is destroyed. Your fleet is crippled. We could annihilate you completely, but that is not our purpose." On dozens of Terran ships, commanders looked at each other, then at the unstoppable force they faced. One by one, they lowered their shields, the Terran symbol of surrender. In his small vessel, Kang breathed a sigh of relief as he watched half the Terran fleet stand down. The other half, loyal to the High Council, continued fighting, and continued falling to the superior human technology. "It's over," Nara said softly. "They cannot win." Kang nodded. "The question now is, what will humanity do with its victory?" On the Defiance, Ji-Eun watched the surrendering ships with mixed emotions. 200 years of exile, of preparing for this moment. They had become truly unstoppable. "Send to all vessels," she ordered. "Cease fire against surrendered ships. We did not survive extinction to become exterminators ourselves." The sun rose over New Seoul, painting the rebuilt skyline in golden light. 6 months had passed since the battle at Cygnus Arm. Earth, once a burned wasteland, now bloomed again with life. Human terraforming technology had accomplished in months what nature would have taken centuries to do. In the center of the city stood the new Galactic Council building, a towering structure of crystal and metal that seemed to shift slightly, parts of it phasing in and out of normal space, a reminder of the technology that had saved humanity. General Ji-Eun stood at the window of her office, watching ships arrive from across the galaxy. Today was the signing of the new Galactic Covenant, an agreement that would reshape civilization among the stars. Captain Tae-ho entered, now wearing the formal uniform of the Human Defense Force. "The delegates are ready," he said. "All 7, Terran species and representatives from 16 independent worlds." Ji-Eun nodded. "And our guest of honor? Ambassador Kang has arrived. Scholar Nara is with him." They walked together to the Great Hall. Hundreds of beings from dozens of species filled the room, their voices creating a buzz of excitement and nervousness. At the center stood a round table with the Covenant document displayed as a hologram above it. Kang and Nara waited near the table. The former commander now served as the Terran ambassador to Earth, appointed after the old High Council was dissolved. "General," Ji-Yoon, Kang greeted her with the human-style bow he had learned. "This is a historic day." "Indeed," Ji-Yoon replied, "one I sometimes doubted would ever come." Nara looked around the hall in wonder. "When I first discovered the truth about what happened to Earth, I never imagined standing here seeing it reborn." Ji-Yoon raised her hand, and the hall fell silent. All eyes turned to her as she stepped onto the central platform. 200 years ago, humanity faced extinction," she began. "Our world was destroyed out of fear of what we might become." She gestured to the gathered delegates. "That fear was not entirely unfounded. Living in phase-shift space changed us. Time flows differently there. What was 2 centuries for you was nearly 1,000 years for us. We evolved, advanced, and could have returned as conquerors. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Many still feared humanity's power. But we choose a different path. Ji-Yun continued. The Galactic Covenant before you today establishes not human rule, but partnership. All species have something to contribute. All deserve a voice. She turned to Kang. Some among the Terran risked everything to help us, to make peace possible. They showed us that we should judge individuals by their actions, not entire species. By their history. Kang stepped forward. The old Confederacy was built on conquest and fear. It fell because of that foundation. This new covenant must be built on mutual respect and cooperation. One by one, the delegates approached the table to sign the document. As they did, the hologram grew brighter, showing the interconnected web of worlds joining the covenant. Later that evening, Ji-Yun and Taeho walked through the gardens outside the council building. Above them, stars shone brightly, no longer symbols of exile but of new possibilities. Was this always your plan? Taeho asked. Even during the darkest days of our hiding, did you envision peace rather than revenge? Ji-Yun thought for a moment. No. For many years I wanted only justice, which to me meant punishment. But seeing Earth reborn, watching children play under open skies instead of in underground caverns, this is better than revenge. They stopped at a viewpoint overlooking the city. In the distance, construction robots worked alongside Terran engineers, building homes for returning humans. The phase shift changed more than our bodies, Ji-Yun said quietly. It changed our perspective. When you exist partially outside normal space-time, you see patterns more clearly. The pattern of revenge and counter-revenge would have destroyed us all eventually. Taeho nodded. Some still question your decision. They say we should have taken control, ruled the galaxy with our superior technology, and become exactly what the Terrans feared. Ji-Yun shook her head. No. Our strength now comes not just from technology but from wisdom. We've seen what fear can do, how it can twist even good intentions. In orbit above Earth, the first class of the new Galactic Academy was arriving. Young beings from 20 different species would study together, learning from each other's cultures and sciences. Human phase shift technology would be shared, along with Terran stellar navigation and the unique abilities of other species. They thought humanity was gone, Taeho said, looking up at the Academy ships. But we weren't just surviving out there in the darkness. We were becoming something more. Ji-Yun smiled as the first stars appeared in the evening sky. Now the real journey begins. Not conquest, not survival, but discovery, together. In that moment, as day turned to night over the reborn Earth, humanity's return had transformed from an ending into a beginning. The unstoppable force had found its true purpose, not to destroy, but to build anew.